the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Oh my gosh.
All right, try it out.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Where's it at? Oh,
Where the heck did it go?
I don't see it.
That went up.
Did you see it?
And I Grandpa, I'm worried.
What are you worried about?
Putting it in there.
He doesn't have that dowel rod.
What? We should have the dowel rod right here.
I forgot to pack it.
It's right here.
Oh. Okay. Can you pack the parachute in there and I pack this in there? Because I don't know how to do it.
That's cool.
So, okay.
Hi, Rich Hoffman here. Kind of proud. These are little moments that make you proud. I had a nice day with my one of my grandsons, my youngest one. Well, no, not anymore. There's younger ones than him now. But I had a nice day flying model rockets with him. This is something that we started. He's a very science inclined kid, and so several years ago, I bought him a model rocket kit, and it just seemed like we could never get around to finding the time to do it. And I think he was 4 or 5 at the time. Really, he's pretty young. And we were going to sit down and build them and put them all together and do it. But he was a little bit on the young side at the time, and we just didn't. We all have busy schedules, and we just didn't get around to it. And I was recently, my wife and I were down at NASA, touring around, looking at Blue Origin, looking at SpaceX, and thinking about the new space economy. And I was looking for little souvenirs to bring back to all the grandchildren. And it reminded me of those rockets. I think, he loves that stuff so much, and so I made a commitment to sit down and actually do this stuff before he gets out of the range. And again, he's 9 years old. So we had a nice day. No matter what was going to happen on the day we were going to launch them, I don't care how windy it was, I don't care how rainy it was. I have something I try to teach everybody who's affiliated with me. Weather doesn't decide what we do. We do what we do, regardless of what the weather is. So, within reason, want to go out in the middle of a hurricane and do things, but we're human beings. We're supposed to impose our will on the environment around us. So that's always a theme. So he and I had targeted Saturday in March it had been kind of nice, so we were hoping to have a nice day, and we had it just warm enough, I think, to be comfortable flying these outside model rockets. But it was rainy and windy. It was really rough as far as that goes. So we found a way to make it work, and we had quite an adventure putting it together. This little launch event, and again, it started because we were down at NASA, and I just I thought of all the kids, but he's the one who's really science inclined, and I just thought we needed to take time to go do these model rockets. And I think it's important because we talk about a lot of stuff. I share a lot of elements of my life, just so people who are wondering can see little glimpses, and whatever they can learn from them that's useful. I put it out there for to share. And I don't put everything up, but this one was pretty impressive. We had a really interesting day building model rockets and flying them. But beyond that, I was impressed with what he did with the experience. So as a young person who's just learning some skills, and you sit down and do things with young people so that they can acquire the skills and then cascade them into their own life in some impressive way. Well, what was different about this is he's been exposed to his mother is a professional photographer. His dad is been experimenting with creating a traveling kind of YouTube channel. They travel all over the world a lot, so he's had exposure to seeing how to cut and edit video, and he's impressive for his, for the age he is. I think part of that, it comes from just being the age, and YouTube is kind of the entry point for all these young people to do things and share parts of their life. And everybody wants to be, when I was growing up, everybody wanted to, consider to be a Hollywood actor, to be or a rock star. That's the way that you acquire fame and fortune in the world. And for this generation, it's being a YouTube star, having a streaming channel that everybody wants to be a part of and watch and have millions of subscribers. And while he's nowhere close to that, he has paid very close attention to how those films or those videos get edited and put together in a dialogue. So we were out running around doing our model rockets, and I think that in itself was a traditional grandfather to grandson type of endeavor, where typically in tradition you pass on some skills to the next generation, and it's something they remember for a lifetime, and that would be the end of it. But he took the whole experience and put together a video, which I'll share on my blog, which I was very impressed with. He had such a good time with us shooting these rockets off, and he went straight home and took a lot of footage and cut it all together and put it into a little 15-minute video that I thought was I was really impressed. Forget that he's a 9-year-old kid. He's a big kid too. He's really tall. He's going to be a really, really tall young man, and impressive in his own way. He's very smart. And of course, all grandparents say that about their grandchildren. You want to think highly of your grandchildren. You wouldn't be normal if you didn't. But, and even in his case, he's a very smart human being. He's going to grow up and have lots of great opportunities. And it's my job to help them see the doors they might want to walk through to expand and make a good life for themselves. And in this case, it's engineering, it's space economy, some kind of thing that you end up doing. You invest yourself into that type of, those kinds of occupational fronts. And I happen to work in aerospace as an executive, so obviously I'm prone to aerospacey kind of things. So model rockets and sharing model rocket building with my grandchildren is nothing extraordinary about that, but it's the video, the story, the ability to tell a story. I was very impressed with what he did with the story of that day and how we built the rockets and how we launched the rockets and everything that happened, to kind of chronicle the day in a way that I thought was very sophisticated. And I think a lot of people will enjoy just a glimpse into my family and kind of how we spend a Saturday afternoon, and meeting one of my grandchildren who obviously isn't shy and doesn't mind expressing himself quite openly. So I'll share it on my blog to get him a little bit more of an audience that he'd probably get on his own, and he deserves it. And I'll share it with everybody. Here's a clip of one of our rocket shots, but he took a series of these and put it in his own video, which I'll share on my blog below this video. But anyway, here's a clip from which, if you haven't seen model rockets before, it's kind of neat. It's a step above just launching off fireworks. It's controlled, it's scientific. You build the things, you launch the things, you fix the things, you launch them again, you reuse them, you learn the basics of science, and in that way, and they have electronic ignition systems that are, a first step in the more sophisticated launches that you see at advanced rocketry. And these are interesting, and there's a lot of science that you can apply. That is just a great way to learn a few things. And it was nice to share those experiences with him, and you can see he has a natural enthusiasm for the topic. Here's an example.
Just like that. I want to put this one same way. Okay.
You got it.
Oh, jeez, I'm still nervous. Okay. So the wind is
got it angled.
Just hold it
You better not move it.
like that. So it goes that way and the wind carries it this way. Everyone, ready?
Okay.
Now hopefully it'll work. First time we did on start, it didn't work. 3, 2, 1. Oh, where'd it go? It went that way.
Oh, he's so high.
It went that way.
Here it comes.
Oh, he's so cute.
Where is it?
I had it a minute ago. Right there. See it?
I can't see it.
No.
Right above me.
I can't see it.
It's right above me.
Ah! Daddy!
Track it.
Did you get it?
No, that's way too hard. Where is it?
Oh, I see it. Oh. Whoa. It went above the cloud.
It did.
Oh, no.
What?
That one might be too far. It's getting blown away.
Where's it at now? I lost it.
It's going that way. The wind's got it carried straight ahead.
Oh, it's over there.
Well, let's go. It'll come down.
Go, Leo, go get it.
Go get it.
Oh, it's getting carried into the neighborhood.
That's a long way. It'll be fine. Yep, and we had trouble all day long finding the rockets in that wind and the weather. The cloud cover was so low that the rockets went into the clouds, and we couldn't see them coming down. So you couldn't tell, if you lost them in the sky because they were just little dots in there. You kind of had to calculate where they would land based on wind and the weight and the direction of the wind trajectory. That's the only way we were able to even locate the rockets. And one of them flew off so far, the larger one that day, I would have never guessed that it would fly almost a mile down the road, over a half a mile. But it went so far up, and it caught a gust of wind that was blowing at quite a voracious amount of velocity, and it carried it. Probably should have had, like I told them at the site, probably should have cut a hole in that parachute so it would descend quicker, and instead it just took a long time to come down. It was a light rocket, didn't have a whole lot of weight to it, so it just got, like Mary Poppins, it just got caught in a wind current and just went forever. And my grandson and my wife did manage to find it. They climbed around everybody's backyards. Those backyards were a long way away from the launch site. And under any normal conditions, it would have been enough space to launch all day long and just have them land, within 100 yards of the launch site at worst. But with the amount of wind there was, it just carried it for a long way. So they went and they spent a half hour finding the rocket in everybody's backyards, way downwind from the takeoff. And I was worried we'd come back. One of his first model rocket experiences would be, not finding the rockets. It's always good, especially for a young person, to have the trophies of your adventure that you can look at every day. You roll out of bed, you look at the things, you think about how fun that day was, and then you build on it with more knowledge and push yourself a little more. And I think with him, the idea is to launch a hobby that he can expand on, because he's such an intelligent kid that if you don't feed intelligence, it migrates into something maybe not beneficial. I think it happens to a lot of young people, and which is kind of why I'm sharing this story. I think if you could match them up with a hobby or a cascade series of hobbies where they can expand their intellect in ways that are very beneficial, you've done them a service that lasts a lifetime. And this little experience we had that he captured very well. I took some video, which I shared here, but he caught multiple camera angles and was able to cut them all together, tell a narrative with a dialogue. And as we were going around to do all the stuff, he was filming as we went, and I heard him filming, and I was conscious that he was putting together a production. But again, I'm thinking, he's a 9-year-old. What's he know to do with all this material? And he surprised me with how sophisticated a lot of his cuts were and how he edited it so wonderfully. Again, I think has a lot to do with his parents. They do these things professionally and on a high end. My daughter, again, she's one of the tops of her field, and he sees her doing these things a lot. But the amount that he's picked up and was able to kind of put into his own voice was quite impressive. So I was happy that we had a moment to take out of our busy lives and share a cool day. The day after, he wanted to go launch again, which we did. The weather was much better on the second day than it was the first. But sometimes you just, if you don't take time to do those things when you really have a busy schedule, and I certainly do, it's hard for me to block off a couple hours anywhere. But I after going down to the NASA facility and kind of looking around and thinking about how quick time goes, and thinking about souvenirs for the grandchildren, it reminded me how quickly they grow, how fast they grow up. So I came back from that little trip with a strong desire to take a minute out of that busy schedule and just sit down and work with him directly and have the model rocket experience. And we got the rockets we built that had been sitting on the shelf for several years, waiting for an opportune time to get together and do it. But someone's always having babies, and someone's always got a vacation, and there's always something going on that you've got to go deal with. So it's harder than it should be to sit out and actually do something like this with grandchildren. And when you can find time to do it, it certainly is worth it. And you can see and hear the enthusiasm in his voice. And it's some of the tragedies, some of the hard things, the not less than optimal things that happen are the most important things in those lessons. It's not so much about building the rockets and painting them up and make them look nice and send them up only for them to come back down predictably. And then think about the science of mass and speed and wind currents and all that stuff that goes into model rocket, the model rocket hobby as a hobby itself. But it's losing the rockets and having to go find them, or the unpredictable things that happen, the wind shifts that occur, at a moment's notice, and you're looking for the thing to be downwind this way, but it's actually downwind at a 45-degree angle from the previous launch, just because the wind shifted with the cold front moving through. We spent several hours talking about cold fronts and meteorology and how to do the basics of understanding how clouds form, what cloud layers, how they hang, at what levels they hang in the sky, what the density of all those water molecules kind of getting caught in that part of their evaporation cycle. How it was very warm that morning, and all those water molecules were held by dense colder air that was higher up, 100, 200, 1,000 feet off the shelf of the Earth, and how much colder it was that held those water molecules. And when they collided, then you get the condensation that falls as light rain. We had great discussions about all that, and we wouldn't have really had the opportunity to just watch a TV show and say, oh, this is why you do it. It's when you're in passion, take something you built at your kitchen table, launch it, and then try to save it and bring it back home to put it on your shelf. The process of that and the sharing of the adventure and all the mishaps that can occur, the faulty igniters, wind shifts, the inclement weather, the unpredictable things that you have to try and fight through are where the real lessons are learned. And that's, I think, a very important thing to help teach kids. And when it comes across, you just never know how it's going to play out. And sometimes you might be too busy to mess with it. You might just not have time to get to it, but you can certainly see how excited a young person can get when all those things come together. And one thing that I think was probably the best part is one of the rockets that he had that he's very proud of. It was going over 280 miles an hour, this little thing, from like a dead stop. So there was a lot of force, centrifugal force on the the base of the rocket itself, and it started coming to unravel because it's really just essentially cardboard tubing, and it started coming unraveled at the top. So we stopped by Tractor Supply, picked up some glue, went home and repaired it, put it in front of a heater to accelerate the curing process, and we had it back out, flying it a couple hours later. Repaired in the field in a lot of ways, and I think those are the parts he enjoyed most, was the troubleshooting, the fixing, the problem resolution, and when you can ignite in a young mind how to deal with unpredictable circumstances and how to apply predictable elements and planning to an endeavor, and then how to overcome impediments to that. That's where the real lessons in life go, whether you're building model rockets or model airplanes or just fixing a car in the backyard. Problem resolution is part of building a healthy society and teaching young people how to solve problems. Whatever mechanism it is that they learn to do that is infinitely very important. And I am very happy to see that he was very happy with the day's experiences, even though all of them didn't go as we thought about them and talked about them and predicted about them. Nothing about the day was predictable and happened the way we planned it. But what we ended up with was a magnificent adventure that was just a part of a teaching grandfather to grandson activity. And what occurred from it is something that will last a lifetime. And we'll likely do a lot more of those launches. But it was fun to watch a light in his eyes open up over something that will benefit him in ways that I think a lot of people will benefit from in the future. He's a pretty neat young man, and he's getting more interesting year by year because he has an intellect and a sense of adventure that allows him to get into the weeds of things. And even when things don't go quite right, he didn't panic. Him and his grandma went and found the rocket, even though they could have easily wrote it off. He wanted to take it home, didn't want to leave it out in the field, and he did the extra work to recover it. And now we get to fly it again. And rather than surrender to the moment, he learned to fight through it. And he's very proud of it. And it reflected in his artistic video of the day, which I'm happy to share, because I think it's not me just being proud of my grandchildren, and in this case, my grandson and my family in general. It's the lessons learned from time when adults spend with children, and those kids learn to grow up and become adults because they learn some important skills from the people in their life that were there best to teach them. And what they do with that sometimes can be very wonderful, and I was proud to see what he did with it. It's a good experience. Little time with the grandchildren. It's a nice thing to do. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
Thank you for listening.